yeah. Today's episode of the E&G podcast is sponsored by our good friends at Clothing by Owl. All you Bachelor fans will recognize this name as they are the company behind the hugely popular Wine Bachelor and Yoga Pants tank top. What you may not know is that they give back a percentage of every item sold to Animal Rescue, and that notable Bachelor alums like JoJo Fletcher, Caitlin Bristow, Lauren Bushnell, Ben Higgins, and Nick Vale are all huge supporters. We're happy to offer our listeners 20% off when you visit clothingbyowl.com. Simply add the discount code ENG, that's EANDG, to save on all your Bachelor gear. And be sure to follow them on social media at Clothing by Owl. Welcome to another special interview episode once again on the E&G podcast. Very excited to get this guest. We got Christian Bishop. A lot of you guys will remember Christian on the show. He was a half white, half black guy? I don't know. He's light-skinned black guy, like very good-looking guy, great shape, wakes up at 3:30 in the morning, and we got to talk to him a little bit about that, and it turns out this guy was a great guy, by the way, super good dude, and he has no time for a social life, which bummed me out, Ian, because he seems like such a great guy, and he says he really doesn't have time right now to date or anything, so he's out there, ladies.
Single and looking. Christian was one of the sweetest dudes ever. This guy was like amazingly nice. And fans will also recognize Christian as being the guy who had the bathtub scene with JoJo where he surprises her with the bathtub and he's in a Speedo. So that was a memorable moment for him. He's also, now that we found out, friends with virtually everybody that's been on the show, including James Taylor. So Christian had a ton of great stories to share, and he also provided some awesome context as well of all the behind the scenes. So we're excited to get this one out there.
Very excited. I hope you guys enjoy it. We really enjoyed talking to him. Here we go.
What's up? Hey, Luke.
Yeah.
Who's this? Luke and Jordan, right?
Yeah, Luke and Jordan. That's right, man. We put our faces on those two guys' bodies because we knew they would make it far. What's up, Christian?
Boys, it was an absolute pleasure spending time with you guys in the mansion. I'm so stoked to talk to you guys again. I missed you boys. You're doing fantastic.
Christian, what are you? You said you're with Brandon and James F. What are you guys doing? Everybody hangs out? Like the show never stops? What happened?
Those days are over, man. But we do hang out. Yeah, absolutely. We just did the Men Tell All, and we actually got together today. We've been kind of just doing some fun little content videos, and we're kind of making fun of kind of our experience on the show. So we're kind of redoing the Men Tell All with some comedy, trying to be funny, and we're just doing little skits.
Christian, how was the audience warm-up guy at the Men Tell All?
I think he was fine, actually. It's funny you said that. I actually did notice him. There was a lot of people, but I noticed him. He wasn't bad.
That's my buddy Gary. He had glasses, right?
Yeah, I think he was. He wasn't bad at all. I was actually surprised by him. He was pretty a fun, just chill guy. He wasn't trying too hard. He just, I don't know. I liked him. He just got it done, you know?
Gary was going to do warm-up at my wedding. I was going to have him surprise everybody and do audience warm-up at my wedding, and then he had to flake because he does it for Conan. And then he told me he was going to fucking invite me to this Men Tell All thing, and next thing I know, he posted that he just finished the fucking Men Tell All thing.
That is so funny. That happens. That's a tough event to get in. I think it's like people really will try getting in that show. We couldn't even get anybody in there.
Oh, really? Oh, that might have been it then.
No, I don't know about that. Him, I'm sure he can make it happen if anybody can, he can.
If anybody can, as the audience warm-up guy?
Yeah.
Wait, so Christian, where are you from originally?
I'm born out here in LA, but went to boarding school in Florida, so I kind of spent half of my life out there.
Oh.
Came back out here for college and things. I got kind of in corporate America and started doing the whole working for the man.
Really? Okay, because here's the thing. We're going to get into like how you got on the show and what your process was with that, but so you're telling me you don't model or act? Because I have a theory that a lot of you guys have to.
Yeah, I think they cast guys that are pretty good looking and fit, right. And it's so easy to quote unquote model or quote unquote act, or try to, but being a working actor and working model, providing for yourself is a whole nother story.
Right.
So I think it's easy to kind of give yourself that, and I think a lot of us casually get thrown into these modeling or acting opportunities because of like our friends that, hey man, can you take some pictures for me in my shirts and stuff? And the next thing you know, you start doing it more and more, and because of social media, like I started just creating content for fun. But no, I don't consider myself an actor. I've never taken an acting class in my life. I'm not talented like that. As far as modeling, I've never been paid to actually model or do any type of
You
action.
never been paid to model?
No, man. I'm not. I don't have the looks like that. Do I look like you guys? Come on. Come on, guys.
Come on now, man. You are being too nice, because you could absolutely make some money on the modeling side if you wanted to,
Especially
buddy.
now.
You guys are good to me. Go ahead and now get to the next. Who's the next?
See, because here's
right?
the thing.
I like
So-
Chris, who's the Bachelor next season? That's the follow-up question, right?
Oh, are you the
That is
Bachelor next season?
no, not yet. Not yet. You can't release too much. We don't want to get you in trouble, man, with ABC. But I do actually have a pretty serious question to get us kicked off here, and this is Ian, the E in ENG. You mentioned in the initial kind of bio piece, right? Because Jeff and I went through all you guys going off of first impressions, and I seem to recall that the most outrageous thing you had listed down was that you went to a strip show and a lap dance in college. That cannot be true, my man. Is that real?
You guys. Let me clarify. So, thanks for your wonderful question, by the way. I mean, absolutely stunning question.
We're going deep. We're going deep.
You get every substance, baby, substance. Fraternity. I was in a fraternity in college, and going through Rush Week, we would be auctioned off to raise money for the Northridge kind of Boys and Girls Club, and we would the pledge class would get auctioned off to sororities. And you would have to do your skit and your dance. And striptease was my thing. So that's what I went for. And yeah, good times.
Oh, so you were the stripper.
Yeah, it makes way more sense.
Yeah, we read it like you were like, man, the craziest thing I ever done. One time I went to a strip club. And we were like, what?
Oh, God. No.
Oh, so you did it. Okay, that's fun. I like that. It's a good story.
Yeah.
Well, how'd you get on
the
the show? What was your process like? A friend, or you applied, or how'd that happen?
Yeah, so it started off kind of the start of the year. I was the final week before the final weekend, right? So they have this finalist weekend where they fly everybody out to LA and meet the producers and the EPs, and they make the final decision. I was that week. That week is when I got quote unquote discovered by the show. The reason why was coming into the year, I kind of made 2 New Year's resolutions. One was to my mom, promising to kind of give a real relationship a chance and say, why don't you find somebody? And that was to her. And to me, myself, it was try new things and kind of put myself out there. So that kind of mindset led me to the show. With my portion of it, I was approached to go to this fitness expo in LA. I go to the fitness expo. I really was thinking I didn't want to do it, but I pushed myself to go, and I'm glad I did. And then there was this arm wrestling competition. Pushed myself to go to this arm wrestling competition because I was like, I like arm wrestling, but when can I ever be that guy? You can't be that guy in a bar and be like, hey, bro, arm wrestle me. You got to really. It's not something you can do every day. Absolutely. So I was like, I'm going to jump all over this and give it a shot. So I did it. And because I pushed myself to go to this expo, because I went on this silly arm wrestling competition, I was on a stage where I was being showcased because I was arm wrestling, and the casting, crew ended up seeing me. They were watching me. I spotted them out, talked to them, and then they kept watching me. In the semifinals, I actually broke this guy's arm, snapped it in half, and the place,
wow,
the place erupted. So it was like a pretty.
Were you telling us Evan was in the arm wrestling competition?
That was so funny. and then I ripped his shirt, and then I got casted. So that's what went down, man. Ripped the V-neck. Ripped her V-neck, and they were like, "We want you."
This is a good. Everybody has a different story. We talked to Sal earlier today, and Sal said his friend was supposed to be cast on it, and then he couldn't do it because he got in a relationship. And then so they said, "Do you know anybody?" And he's like, "Yeah, my friend Sal." So that's kind of interesting. You guys all have a different kind of way it happened for you.
Yeah, it is a little different, a little interesting. I think what comes from the shows, they don't want people who necessarily want to be on the show. That's not, I don't think that's what people want. Like, you can't, they're not really going to cast actors or people, quote unquote, here for the wrong reasons, people, just because it always comes off that way anyway. Everybody who comes on the show ends up being, covered in that cloud of you're not here for the right reasons. So if you casted somebody who really was looking for that type of fame, it would just be really rough and apparent.
Right.
So that's a really good point, man. Going into The Bachelorette too, Christian, let me ask you, how familiar were you with JoJo? Did you have a chance to watch any previous Bachelor season or when she was on with Ben?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Caila. I was hoping it was going to be Caila Quinn.
Okay.
I did my
Nice.
research. I pre-did my research on her and things, and I was totally thought it was going to be her, and I was amped, and I kind of watched the previous season, but mainly paying attention to her because, like all of us, I thought that's where we thought it was going, and I totally got sideswiped, and looking back, I should have known better, but I fell for it.
And what were your
Dang, so go ahead, Jeff.
what were your like friends and family once you found out you were going to be on the show? Were they excited for you? Did some of your friends give you crap for it, or was everyone just happy, or what was it?
Yeah, I really didn't talk about it much, honestly, with a lot of friends and stuff, just because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, because I never watched the show, and you're really petrified and nervous to even talk about the show because you're told not to. So you're really scared in the beginning, and you really don't know what you're getting into, and not being in the industry and Hollywood and things, you really don't know what you're dealing with. So I just was on the side of caution about everything, and my mom and family was supportive, but it's always it is always a little concerning when you're going in front of 10 million people.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. That's got to be super nerve-wracking. And what was it like when you were planning out your initial limo introduction, right? So that's really your welcoming to the stage. I believe they did a backstory on you too, right, on that first episode, showing you in your own environment a little bit as well. But that was your chance, right? You're meeting JoJo for the first time. How much thought did you put into that?
Yeah, I got lucky. So I was shown in my natural habitat, and I was a little fortunate with my little feature film. Cool little moment.
Totally, I remember that. Yeah.
But I actually ended up getting off of a Harley. I actually rode up and had that whole bad boy.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Did you plan that, Christian, or was that someone or the producers coming in and saying, "Hey, we have a really good idea. We know you ride motorcycles. Go." How did that work?
So me coming out, I was like, look, I want to have fun, and I want to do something different. Because I am, I'm just coming into this. If I'm going to do it, I want to put my best foot forward. And I was like, how can I? At every step of the way, I want to show different sides of me because I'm kind of a chameleon. I have all these, I can be nerdy, I can be macho, I can be athletic, I can be Mr. Corporate Business, I can be political, I can be I can be a philanthropist. Like whatever it is, I have all these sides of me. So I was like, you know what? I think JoJo, or not JoJo. What I did find out it was JoJo. I think she would like this bad boy thing, and then when it's me getting off the bike, I thought it would be funny because she's like, wait, he's not much of a bad boy necessarily. He's and I kind of wanted to keep her on her toes, but I went to the producers about it, and that's what I went for. And we kind of talked about it, and they were like, no, that's not. We don't think we want to do it. And then they came back last minute, and we were able to make it happen.
Nice.
So what the first day at the house? What is that? What's like the vibe and the mood like there? Like who stood out right away? And are there certain guys that are like competitive, or is everyone just nice? What's that like that first day, that first night, I guess?
Yeah, it's an absolute shit show. So it's a shit show. You're walking in, the production's insane. None of us have ever been in this experience in our lives. You get a bunch of normal dudes, for the most part, and you throw them in this environment that we have never, ever been in. I've never been in front of a commercial camera like that. And then to be in front of, tens of 20 cameras with hundreds of people and lights, it's nuts. So that's why people, I'm not surprised, get blasted and use alcohol to cope, because you're sitting there like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, the alcohol was definitely, they don't even hide the fact that guys are getting pretty shit-faced. And that's all nerves, right? Like certain guys are just like, I've never been in a situation, so I'm just going to get drunk and have fun.
Before when watching it, I was like, these guys are idiots. Like, who would do that? Like, who would get blasted on national television?
Right.
Because of just the sheer raw emotion that flows through you, and it's overwhelming. Like, there's guys that are shaking, guys that are sweaty, guys who are just bumbling, like can barely speak, and it's crazy because you couldn't just put anybody on this show in this environment and think that they could. Guys struggle to walk up to girls and talk to them on the street,
Yeah.
And we struggle doing that sometimes. And then you're telling me I'm going to be in a situation where I'm going to be dating a celebrity. JoJo's a celebrity at this point. I'm dating a celebrity. by the way, there's hundreds of people watching it on set. You're competing against 25 other rock star guys. By the way, there's 10 million people watching it on Monday Night Live, including all your friends and family back home, and they're going to see you try dating a girl. Yeah, that's brutal.
A lot of pressure. When you walked in, were there certain guys that right away stood out, and you're like, oh, that guy's going to be good competition, or that guy not so much, or anything like that?
No, I didn't get into that. My whole thing, what stood out to me was everybody who did something different. So like Saint Nick, like watching a guy show up in a Santa costume, watching a guy in a kilt. That kind of stuff blew me away. I was like, "Whoa, that's it's crazy." Because night one, I mean, that's big. That stood out to me. And
did Nick really keep saying "ho ho ho"? Because I remember when we watched that, I told Ian, I said that looks like they might have edited that in post to make it look like this guy wouldn't stop saying "ho ho ho."
Was it a post thing? I don't know. Because remember, there's so many people that there's so many guys are everywhere. 26 guys night one. Think about how many producers are there, like with all the different guys. And then it gets cliquey. Then it gets groups. It's not like one big group of 26. It's like 2 or 3 guys here, 2 or 3 guys there, 2 or 3 guys there. And production wants to keep hands on and eyes on everybody and what's going on. So if you can think of 26 guys, imagine how big the production was night one to keep everything wrangled in. I mean, it's hundreds of people. So really, honestly, your eyes are just all over the place with activity. That's kind of hard to really focus on anything.
Okay.
Now that makes so much sense, man, and that doesn't necessarily come across on TV, obviously, because of the editing. But one thing that Jeff and I have also spent some time talking about is the fact that it seemed like JoJo had a clear type of guy that she was into, right? And really that type of guy was, tall, good-looking, smile, white for the most part. Did you get a sense of that when you were on the show as well?
No, I didn't from her. I think she's what makes her so special, and I this is one of the things I realized quickly about her was her ability to make you feel comfortable and to be really engaged. Like if I've had conversations with women before where I've tried dating them and talking to them, and you can sometimes a girl just isn't engaged in the conversation. She's staring off on the other things. She just doesn't quite have it, but her, I mean, my hat's off to her. Like, you're dating 26 people, but every time I got a chance with her, she was engaged. She was like, what's going on? Like, the eye contact was there, the conversation was there, the energy. I didn't feel like she was going through the motions, and I think she doesn't get enough credit for it. And not until the end and watching the show back was it so obvious to me, like how into some of the other guys she was.
Well, yeah. That's super interesting, man. It's like, and one thing you keep going back to, and I think we definitely see it, and it comes through a lot of times as well, and I think especially about JoJo, is that she is genuine, and there's a lot of genuine guys there. And it sounds like even for the most part what you're saying is most of the guys were genuine, but were there guys that were standing out to you as being kind of phony? And people would point at someone like Chad, for instance, right, as this guy has strong personality and whatever else. Chad was always hard to read. It was either this guy was just being super real and they were editing in a certain way, or that he really was that standoffish in the group. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I don't think Chad was being phony. I think Chad's being himself. I just think he has some screws loose. I think he's just off.
So you really do think he's off? Okay, that's interesting. Go ahead.
No, it's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. He is. Poor guy. He's not going to be able to have his own show because you need somebody you can rely on and that has some type of consistency or stability. He's too erratic, and it sucks because he pulls so much attention, and I guarantee you people are excited to meet the guy and people want to talk to him, but if you were to meet him and have a conversation, you would get it pretty quickly, like, okay, you wouldn't feel comfortable making a significant investment to build something around somebody like that.
Man, we thought a lot of it could have been, I told Ian the whole time, I was like, man, a lot of this could be editing because it's TV, so maybe they're just hiding things people are doing to Chad, and then they make him look like he's nuts. But I said, or he might be kind of like you said, he might have a little screw loose. I think the favorite thing I saw that guy do was when him and Alex, you've obviously been watching the show, right?
Yes.
When him and Alex...
I only watched like 3. That was the last episode I watched was him and Alex.
Okay, yeah, well, on that one, when JoJo confronts Chad about, like, hey, like, I heard, you said you were going to go find Jordan after the show's over and be physical or whatever, and then she's telling him basically, like, you don't have to be physical, like, to solve things, and he did seem like he generally was the type of guy that when he said to her, he goes, just tell me another way. Like, if you tell me another way, I would understand. Like, he genuinely did not know another way to handle a situation besides being physical, it looked like.
Yeah, I think he's capable of making some conversation and having some points, and I think you can get by hanging out with a guy in a bar, right? Where you really don't need to get into anything with substance, and you can just talk about some basic high level stuff. I mean, just really low level stuff, just really basic shit. And you can get by talking to the guy and be fine. I think that situation brought out a lot in him as well. And he's competitive. So not being able to think through it, and what he really just honestly lacks is the emotional intelligence. And that's what kind of exposed him, was that lack of EQ. And that just leads to a lot of those socially awkward moments where you're like, come on, man. Like, you don't just say that. You don't call a woman naggy. Like, you just don't do it. And like, there's just some very obvious moments where you just don't do it.
Right.
That makes total sense. A couple other things that Jeff and I were talking about as well were, what were the type of people now that you've had a chance to be off the show that recognize you? I'm sure this happens to you all the time, anywhere you go, but I'm sure you also get hit up on social media, direct messages now, all the different platforms that are out there. Have you had any weird interactions with fans since being off the show?
No, I haven't had weird interactions. It's been kind of the best part and a lot of fun for me, is kind of really, you have this awesome opportunity in 15 seconds of notoriety to kind of make people's days, right? With a simple response of a message, of a Snapchat message. Like, I get messages from me, be like, oh, it's my mom's birthday. And I'll be like, what's her name? And I'll send back a little message and be like, hey, happy birthday to Miss So-and-so. And it's like, you can just make people's days by kind of the opportunity you get for something so little and simple. As I'm like a nobody, I'm a normal guy. And that's been really fun for me to be a part of and experience. People have been pretty good to me. I'm still, when it comes to the Bachelor Nation and relevance, I'm pretty irrelevant. You want to talk to guys that are like in the top 8 and some of those guys.
I feel like you stood out though a little bit. You were on there for a while, and so you don't have any like crazy fans or girls that are constantly hitting you up or anything?
You get that. You get those. I mean, everybody does. But it's not so much about you as an individual as it is about you as just, you're on the show.
Right, exactly. But how do you handle that? Like, say a girl that you actually would be interested in, if she wasn't hitting you up just because the show, hits you up and she does live near you, do you go, I'm a little turned off because she's hitting me up because of the show, or do you see where that goes?
Yeah, I think being on the show has made dating tougher. Dating with, any type of significance with an actual relationship, because you have to fill through why is somebody interested in building a relationship with you, right? Is it because of the show, because you have questions about the show all the time, or are they actually genuinely interested in you? Right. And like anything, it gets old, like talking about the same concepts, because you can imagine how it goes at the same time. The first question anybody asks is, so is that guy Chad really that way? That's the first question everybody always asks.
Yeah.
It gets old.
That's why we asked that question 9th. Go ahead.
There you go. There you go. So, like,
that's not too surprising, man.
Hey, Ian and I are not your typical chicks.
Nah, yes, out of the box.
We have some different questions, and one that I know that our fans are probably curious of too. And I'll go back to your previous point, which is that I think you definitely had moments, and it kind of came through at certain times in your appearances on the show. I believe you were there when they went to ESPN, right, with Max and Marcellus, and I think I recall you at the end of one episode in a bathtub scene where you surprised JoJo. What was that like? Was she really caught off guard? Did she know that was coming at all?
No, she had no clue, and that's a part of it for me. Was coming into the entire, show experience, like I mentioned with the Harley, the bike, I wanted to keep her on her toes and show her different sides and have fun. So we had opportunities to have some serious conversations, and I was like, you know what? She was going through a lot with the cocktail party, so I was like, I want her to just have fun. I want her to just relax and enjoy herself, and let's just have some fun and not have one of these more serious, tell me about your passions, what are you excited for conversations. And she got to him when I was walking her up the stairs because my suit was falling apart, and she was like, what are you wearing? She's like, she's like, what's wrong with your suit? And I was like, don't judge me. This isn't really what I'm wearing to the cocktail party, because it was like shredded, ripped to pieces. And she could like see my like thigh gap. She could like see my inner thigh. And it's pretty funny. So I was just like, just keep walking, JoJo. You'll see soon. So it was just cool. And yeah, she had no idea, but she rolled with it. It's fun.
Christian, let me ask you this.
This is definitely from the stripping outfit that you were referencing at the beginning of the podcast.
Man, I had to bring it out, bro. Had to bring it out.
Love it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Let me ask you this. How hard is it, like, obviously we could tell just by the way when you have talked about JoJo, you do think she's this, real good girl, and she's, a pretty impressive person. How hard is it? It's got to be hard being on that show where you're trying to focus your energy towards her, but also it is a competition. And how does that kind of mess with your head that you're not competing with these other guys? You're just competing for her, but you really are competing with these other guys. Was that tough? Is that confusing, or do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think you know what you're signing up for. Okay, so I think you have to prepare yourself for a lot of certain things coming into this. And you have to compartmentalize a lot of shit that you're dealing with on a show, because you're just not going to make sense of it, and it's so different. So that's one of those things, right? Is the competition factor and the other relationships. And if you find yourself worried about that and allowing yourself to be consumed by those things that are completely out of your control and really irrelevant, really, with what you're dealing with in the moment with JoJo, you're doomed for failure. And I think you
have to keep your head on straight. You have to keep your head on straight. And I think that's what you're alluding to. And one thing too that stood out was, so James, for us, James Taylor, was one of our absolute favorite guys all season. And slowly these last couple episodes, and I know you mentioned that you hadn't been watching, but he kind of started talking about other guys. And then, that happens throughout the series, right? But it seems like he almost resorted back into this person that isn't really who James is. James seems like he's just like an outgoing, fun guy.
He got very insecure towards the last couple episodes, it seemed.
Which is unfortunate. We hated that.
I really didn't see any of it. I didn't see any of those, honestly. I saw his ending on YouTube. I just YouTubed it to see how he left. But I do know that he's one of my best friends in the house. So I'm like a JT fan. I posted an actual selfie on Instagram of James. I kid you not, guys. Take out your phones and look at this. And look at his last post right now. Like, look at his last post. Go pull up your phones right now. Are you guys follow us on Instagram?
I could pull it up.
Here, let's pull it up real quick. We can both do it at the same time.
Christian Bishop. Oh, yeah. Dude, James looks like he's been working out. Have you been training James?
Yeah, now he's a beast. Now look at. See, I literally posted that pic, and now click him and look at his picture. Look at his last.
Oh, there you go. You got a FaceTime up there.
I kid you not. Like, this is my guy. So you're asking. I'm between Team James 100%. So
I think that was part of it, man. We are too. That was like one of those things, right? Because sometimes I feel like it's what you're saying. People are genuine and they try to come off a certain way, but if they have a moment of weakness at all, there's going to be a camera there ready to catch that.
You're going to get violated, man.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things. I almost wanted to give you an opportunity to clear the air on James, because, like I said, we love James. We think he's a great guy, so wish him well.
Yeah, I mean, you're being filmed 24/7, nonstop, and in such an interesting, crazy scenario and situation that and going through, when you develop real feelings for somebody, which is hard enough on its own, right? Getting broken up with, or getting crushed, or dealing with uncertainty and self-doubt, and as insecurities build, because I think as you progress and you keep going through these stressful moments, he's a very humble guy who's always been thinking, like, he's never felt, hey, I'm a lock for a rose at any situation during the season. He's just not that kind of guy. So every rose is a huge win for him. And it just gets tougher and tougher and closer to the end, and more anxiety builds. And like anybody else, he's human. So things happen, and kind of, we're all human. So,
hey, Christian, is there anybody, because you are being filmed 24/7, like you said, and obviously the show is not a 24-hour episode. So are there any people that maybe we didn't get to see, like the viewers didn't get to see, that you thought, man, that guy was a really cool guy, a really great guy, and he just didn't really get a shot? Is there anybody that's...
Yeah. So there's a couple. So I'll rattle them off to you. So you got Brandon. I think Brandon Howell was portrayed as the hipster,
right,
which is definitely not. I mean, he's a rock star kind of guy. He's a stud. He's an LA guy, like 6'5". He's an actual model, like really great guy, humble, down to earth, talk to anybody. he only thing you ever heard him say was "Damn Daniel" when he jumped in the pool. So he's one of those guys, which is a shame, and it's a shame for us watching it too, because I think he had a lot to offer. And then James Fuertes, he makes it to Nemacolin, and yeah, he's another great guy, and he's into the fitness world like me, and yeah, those are the guys I hung out with today, actually.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's right, man. So you keep in touch with the guys from the show, and it sounds like The Bachelor does a pretty good job of keeping like a Bachelor family, right? How has that experience been for you? You've been connecting with people from past seasons as well. It's like an alumni system almost.
Yeah, I think that's completely as an individual thing, though. The show really doesn't do much to kind of develop that. I think it's on you as a person if you just want to reach out to people and build relationships. If you have the energy and the interest to make the effort. It is a two-way road too, though. Some people just aren't interested either in talking to people at the show. They move on with their lives, and others are. Some other people from previous seasons are super consumed with the show that, they welcome any type of show conversation or drama. Others, not so much. So it really just varies and depends. But for me, this has been something pretty unique, and I'm trying to make the most out of the opportunity and before I completely move on.
Man, well, you seem to be like real cool with a lot of people, or most everybody in the house. Who do you think JoJo will end up with of the guys left?
Man, I'll have to abstain from that question, man. And
is that one of the ones you can't answer?
We're gonna get super political, man. Here we go. Boom. All I wish for is the JoJo to be happy and find love, and that's what the girl like her deserves. So, I don't want to think for JoJo and put myself in her head or her heart or shoes. So I just hope a girl like that gets what she deserves and falls in love, and hopefully we can all watch it and enjoy her love story.
All right, great. Well, that's a good political answer. I got a good softball for you then. Do you really wake up at 3:30 a.m. every day to start your day?
My man, check my Snapchat from today, brother. I Snapchatted it. I was up 3:30 this morning, leave my house at 4. I'm in the gym at 4:30 for my first class at 5.
Okay, just run me through your whole day real quick, a regular day.
3:30, leave my house at 4. Gym 4:30, class at 5, class at 6. Break at 7, class at 8, class at 9, head home, eat lunch, rest up, shower up, emails, go through some business, hit the gym after that, about 1 o'clock.
Wait, all these classes are gym classes? You're teaching classes,
yeah,
right?
group fitness workout.
And so then after all you teach all those and then you go to the gym later?
Yeah, I have to get my own workout in, right?
Okay, all right, keep going. The day's not done.
I got to get my own workout in, so I go to the gym a little bit, but I have to take a break because I'm pretty zapped. And I get back, and then I'm on the corporate grind. So, previously before the show, right, I would only teach the classes in the morning, 5 or 6, and then I would shower. No, it's 5 or 6, and I would go to the gym at 7:15, and then I would be done with my workout about 8:30, shower, and be in the office by 9, and work 9 to 5, and then come home after that, and then be in bed by like 8 or 9. Now, I had to leave my job recently because of the show stuff, and now I'm kind of doing some other corporate stuff with startups and things, so I'm able to work, a little bit more flexible with my timing.
Yeah, get like 3 hours instead of 2 hours of sleep. I got it. Okay.
No, man. No. Honestly, I do get my sleep. What just suffers is the social life, right? So because I'm not going to go out to happy hour or drink and stuff because I got to be up early. So when it comes to dating and quote unquote getting girls, it becomes a little different for me than
Jeez.
So Christian, are you dating anyone seriously now, or even just casually?
No, man. Did you see I got crushed? I got crushed. I wasn't good enough. Did you not see the TV show? Think anybody wants the reject? No one wants the reject, man.
Well, I can tell you after about 30 minutes of chatting with you, man, that is so far from the truth. You are obviously a great guy. It definitely comes through. We can absolutely say that you were there for the right reasons and you have all the right things to say. So maybe once the show wraps and you guys can open up a little bit more, we'd love to have you back on. But in the meantime, is there anything that you'd like to promote? Anything you're working on, or if you want to shout out your social media for all the listeners?
Sure, man. That's very cool. I appreciate that, guys. You guys love for everybody to kind of keep in touch. You got a lot of things to post and creating a lot of funny content and some fitness stuff and some future news with a couple upcoming shows that we're doing. So my Instagram is at Mr. Christian Bishop. You can follow me on Snapchat. I got my other social media handles on my Instagram. Feel free to check it out, guys. And yeah, reach out to me. Feel free to shoot me some messages, Snapchats. I'll get engaged with you guys and your fans, and appreciate you guys having me on your show. Enjoy what you guys do. A lot of us are talking about you guys because you do a great job reaching out to the contestants. You at E&G, you guys are getting out there, man. You guys are diligent. I respect the hustle.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks for being on the show. I really like talking to you, and I'm still kind of baffled that you don't have a bunch of girls all around you.
Oh man, come on! I don't look like you. Maybe if I take your profile pics, I'm gonna create a Tinder account with you guys.
Maybe a girl will listen to our podcast, and then that's who you'll meet, and she'll be like, "I heard you on the podcast," and then you'll end up getting married and get real.
God, you guys will be in the wedding if that happens.
And James Taylor can play the music.
Heard it here first. Yeah.
All right, Chris, thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you.
All right, take care, man.
Bye-bye.
Make sure to follow Christian on Twitter at Mr. C. Bishop. That's MRC Bishop. And follow Christian on Instagram at Mr. Christian Bishop. Today's episode of the E&G podcast is sponsored by our good friends at Clothing by Owl. All you Bachelor fans will recognize this name as they are the company behind the hugely popular Wine Bachelor and Yoga Pants tank top. What you may not know is that they give back a percentage of every item sold to Animal Rescue, and that notable Bachelor alums like JoJo Fletcher, Caitlin Bristow, Lauren Bushnell, Ben Higgins, and Nick Vale are all huge supporters. We're happy to offer our listeners 20% off when you visit clothingbyowl.com. Simply add the discount code ENG, that's EANDG, to save on all your Bachelor gear. And be sure to follow them on social media at Clothing by Owl. JoJo.